The story opens at dawn, a fog curling over a small glassy lake surrounded by whispering pines. The water is so still that Ryan's reflection moves only when the soft ripples from his line spread out. His hands, rough and steady, hold an old fishing rod once owned by his late grandfather. The early light catches the brass nameplate on the dock. Miller Lake, private property. This lake isn't just his hobby, it's his family's legacy. His grandfather built the dam, stocked the fish, and protected it from developers for 50 years. The camera pans wide, a peaceful, dreamlike calm, until the hum of an SUV engine cuts through the quiet. A silver Lexus, spotless and smug, rolls up to the dirt road near the dock. Out steps Karen, the HOA president of the nearby Willow Creek Estates. She's wearing oversized sunglasses, a wide-brimmed hat, and an attitude sharp enough to slice through the morning air. She shouts across the water, "Hey! This is private HOA property. No fishing allowed!" Ryan reels in his line slowly, unbothered. "Morning to you too," he replies. "I own this lake." Karen folds her arms, smirking. "Oh, really? I'll make a few calls. Let's see what the county records say about that." Her voice is dripping with mock politeness, but there's venom underneath. She takes a picture of him with her phone before driving off, tires spitting gravel. Ryan frowns, the quiet shattered. A low, uneasy hum of strings rises in the background. He looks back at the water, the reflection of the clouds disturbed by something oily gliding just below the surface. 2 days later, a thick white envelope arrives in his mailbox. The logo in the corner, Willow Creek Homeowners Association. He tears it open. Inside, notice of violation. Cease all activities on lakefront property. Environmental hazard investigation in progress. Ryan's brow furrows. He owns that land. It's his. But the letter reads like they've already taken control. That evening, the wind shifts, carrying a strange chemical smell from the lake. He walks to the shore, flashlight in hand. The beam cuts across the surface, revealing a rainbow sheen like fuel. Dead fish float near the reeds. The air burns his throat. He kneels down and touches the water. It leaves a slick residue on his fingers. The camera closes on his face, disbelief hardening into rage. From across the lake, headlights flash. A shadowy figure stands near the feeder stream, rolling a barrel toward the water. Next morning, Ryan drives straight to the HOA office. The sterile glass building reflects his angry face as he walks in. Behind the reception desk sits Karen, sipping from a white cup that says Boss Lady. "Ah, Mr. Miller," she says with fake sweetness. "Can I help you?" "You know exactly why I'm here," Ryan snaps. "Someone dumped chemicals in my lake." Karen raises an eyebrow, unfazed. "Oh, that? Our landscapers were treating the greenbelt for algae bloom. Maybe some runoff reached your pond," he glares. "It's a lake and it's not part of your HOA," she shrugs. "Water flows where it wants, Mr. Miller. Can't blame the rain." As he turns to leave, he notices something outside through the office window. 3 blue industrial barrels in the back of her husband's truck. The label, Algicide Concentrate, Restricted Use. Karen follows his gaze, her smile tightening. "Curiosity can get people in trouble," she says quietly. "It's just water. You should stay out of it." Ryan's truck door slams shut, and across the street, a dark sedan starts following him home. That night, as rain begins to fall, Ryan gets a knock on his door. It's Tom, a retired plumber who's lived nearby for years. His hands tremble as he holds out a coffee thermos. "I shouldn't even be here," Tom mutters. "But you need to know, Karen bragged about it at last week's meeting." Ryan frowns. "Bragged about what?" "They dumped barrels into the feeder creek upstream," Tom says, glancing toward the dark woods. "Said she'd handle that fisherman problem for good?" Ryan's heart pounds. "You saw them?" Tom nods, eyes darting. "Yeah, her husband and 2 of the landscapers. Middle of the night. No one else was supposed to know." A distant roll of thunder fills the silence. Lightning flashes, and Ryan sees movement at the far end of his property. A man in a raincoat hauling another barrel toward the water. The next morning, Ryan hikes through the woods with his drone bag and camera. He follows the stream that feeds his lake, tracing it uphill toward the neighborhood. Half a mile later, he finds something chilling. A large steel pipe emerging from the hill, marked WCE Utility, Water Supply. It runs directly into his poisoned lake. He realizes the horrifying truth. The HOA's drinking water comes from the same lake they poisoned. His camera shakes slightly as he documents everything. Barrels, chemical residue, pipe junctions, timestamps. Then his phone buzzes. An unknown number, he answers cautiously. A voice hisses, "Stop filming, Miller. You're trespassing. You don't want to make this worse." He spins around. No one there. But in the distance, he hears the hum of a drone. Not his. The following morning, Ryan wakes to the sound of tires crunching on gravel. A sheriff's cruiser parks at the end of his driveway. The officer steps out, and Karen stands behind him with folded arms and a smug smile. "Morning, sir," the sheriff says, flipping open a notepad. "We got a report of illegal dumping and trespass on HOA property." Ryan's jaw clenches. "You've got it backwards." Karen crosses her arms tighter, pretending to look concerned. "He's been harassing my family, taking photos, following us." Ryan gestures toward the lake. "Maybe take a look at those blue barrels she forgot to hide first." The sheriff hesitates, visibly torn. But then Karen leans in and whispers something in his ear. His expression hardens. "Sir," he says, "turn around. Hands behind your back." Ryan stares at her in disbelief. As he's being handcuffed, Karen smiles faintly and says, "Next time, mind your own water." Camera pans to the lake behind them, ripples glowing faintly blue under the rising sun. The morning air is heavy as Ryan sits handcuffed in the back of the sheriff's cruiser. Rain pelts the windshield, the wipers dragging in slow rhythm. Through the glass, he sees Karen standing in her pink raincoat, talking and laughing with the deputy, like she's already won. Inside the car, Ryan's jaw tightens. He knows the lake's poisoned, and the HOA's lies run deep. But now, they've flipped the narrative on him. "Look," the sheriff mutters as he gets into the front seat. "Karen says you've been harassing folks. I don't want trouble between neighbors." Ryan's voice is low but steady. "Sheriff, you're drinking the same water she poisoned." The sheriff glances at him in the mirror, confusion flashing for a second. "What are you talking about?" "Your water line comes from my lake," Ryan says. "That's your family's tap water." The sheriff's knuckles tighten on the steering wheel. He looks back at Karen, then at Ryan again, conflict in his eyes. He doesn't say another word. But he doesn't start the engine either. The radio crackles. Dispatch reporting multiple residents complaining of metallic-tasting tap water. The sheriff's eyes widen. By sunset, emergency alerts ripple through Willow Creek estates. Residents complain of rashes, nausea, and foul-smelling water. A local news van parks near the entrance. Reporters start asking questions. Ryan watches the chaos from the tree line, his hands still shaking from the morning's arrest. He's free now. The sheriff let him go with a warning, but his anger burns hotter than ever. He walks back to the shore. The lake looks sick, gray foam collecting near the edges, fish floating belly up. He kneels, scooping a jar of the water. His reflection is distorted, his face warped by the toxins below. Behind him, a voice breaks the silence. Tom, the old neighbor again. "City's sending inspectors tomorrow," Tom says quietly. "But the HOA's trying to pin it on you. Said you dumped something to get back at them." Ryan exhales sharply. "They think they can twist everything." He looks toward the lake, determination hardening in his eyes. "Then let's show them the truth before it's too late." As he walks back toward his truck, his headlights sweep across something floating near the dock, a plastic jug labeled Algicide with Karen's HOA logo sticker still half attached. The next morning, Ryan's garage becomes a makeshift command center. He spreads maps, photos, and water test kits across the workbench. His laptop hums, uploading drone footage from the day before. The footage reveals everything. 3 men, Karen's husband and 2 HOA maintenance workers, dumping barrels into the creek under cover of night. License plates visible. Timestamps clear, Ryan smiles grimly. Got you. But before he can finish compiling the evidence, he hears tires screech outside. Through the blinds, a black SUV idles at the curb. Two men in suits step out, scanning the property. One takes photos. He quickly removes the SD card from his drone and hides it in an old tackle box under the floorboards. The men knock on his door. "Mr. Miller," one says through the glass. "We're with the Environmental Safety Board. We just need to ask you a few questions." But the badge on his chest doesn't look official. Ryan lets them in cautiously. The taller man smiles politely, but scans every corner of the living room. "We received reports of contamination, Mr. Miller. Mind if we take your samples for testing?" Ryan's instinct screams no, but he knows refusing will make him look guilty. He hands them a small jar, one of many he filled. But the real uncontaminated samples, the ones proving HOA chemicals, stay hidden in his freezer. As they leave, one man pauses at the door and says, "You might want to keep quiet about all this. People who stir the water too much tend to drown in it." Ryan watches their SUV disappear down the road, his fists trembling. He grabs his phone and calls the sheriff. Voicemail. Then he tries the county water department. Lines are currently busy. That night, his power suddenly cuts out. Through the dark window, a silhouette moves near the dock, dumping something else into the water. Ryan rushes out with his flashlight. Rain slams the lake, wind howling through the trees. Down by the dock, the silhouette turns. It's Karen's husband, rolling another barrel toward the water. "Hey!" Ryan yells, sprinting down the hill. The man freezes, then bolts into his truck. As he drives off, the tires spray mud and lake water everywhere. But in his rush, something falls from the truck bed, a clipboard labeled HOA Waste Disposal Schedule. Ryan picks it up, water dripping off the edges. Inside, signed approvals, HOA budgets, even Karen's signature on an order for chemical treatment, 200 gallons. He takes pictures of everything and emails them to himself immediately. The next morning, Ryan wakes to find his email hacked and all attachments deleted. His phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. "Last warning. Leave the lake alone. By noon, chaos engulfs the entire neighborhood." News helicopters hover overhead. Emergency trucks line the streets. The HOA's water tanks have turned green. Reporters swarm the HOA office. Karen, in sunglasses and pearls, insists it's natural algae bloom, but the city health inspector's report says otherwise. Ryan stands at the edge of the property recording the scene from afar. He sees panic spreading among the residents. People are coughing, holding bottled water, shouting at HOA staff. He turns to see the sheriff's cruiser pull up beside him. The sheriff steps out, face pale. "You were right," he says quietly. "Tests confirm industrial algicide in the lake. It's in the water system." Ryan exhales, years of frustration burning into cold satisfaction. "Told you it wasn't just fishing." The sheriff looks down at his phone. "Problem is, Karen says the chemical company has your name on the invoice." Ryan's blood runs cold. Someone's framing him, and the final battle's about to begin. The sheriff's cruiser hums quietly by the roadside. Ryan stares at the paper in disbelief. His name, his old company name, printed on the invoice. "Miller Outdoor Services, algicide delivery, 200 gallons. He whispers, "That business shut down 4 years ago." The sheriff glances over the top of the document. "Karen says you had leftover chemicals, that you've been dumping to get back at them for the fishing ban." Ryan laughs bitterly. "That's convenient, isn't it?" The one man who warned them ends up holding the smoking gun. He looks up at the sheriff. "You ever seen my old signature, Frank?" Frank frowns. Ryan pulls out his wallet and hands over an old fishing permit, signed in his neat, slanted script. The one on the invoice is different, too perfect, like someone traced it. The sheriff studies the two papers for a long moment. Then he sighs. "Don't go anywhere, Ryan, I'll dig." As the sheriff drives off, Ryan returns to his cabin and finds his front door cracked open. Inside, his laptop is gone. The floor creaks under Ryan's boots as he steps inside. His stomach sinks. Drawers pulled open, papers scattered. Someone searched everything. He kneels beside his desk, running a finger along the dust where his laptop once sat. Then he notices muddy boot prints leading out the back door down toward the dock. He grabs his flashlight and follows them into the dark, fog rolling low over the water. Near the dock, something glints, the missing laptop half submerged. He pulls it out, screen cracked, dripping. The hard drive light still flickers weakly. Someone wanted to destroy the evidence, but not completely. He brings it back inside, setting it beside a fan, whispering, "Come on, come on." After a few tense minutes, the screen boots up, but only one video file remains. He opens it, grainy footage. Night vision. Karen and her husband at the dock, pouring barrels into the lake. Her voice clear, "No one's catching fish in my view again." Ryan smiles in disbelief. Until he realizes the video timestamp is dated 2 days in the future. Ryan rewinds the video, frame by frame. The footage shows tomorrow's date, yet his drone hasn't recorded anything new. Then he notices something else. The angle of the footage. It wasn't filmed from his drone. It was from a camera hidden in the HOA boathouse. Someone else is watching them too, Ryan mutters. He drives to the edge of the lake under moonlight, parking behind the trees. The HOA boathouse looms across the water, silent, locked up. He waits until the neighborhood lights dim and the wind drowns the sound of his steps. Breaking the latch, he slips inside. The smell of chlorine and oil fills the air. In the corner, a motion-activated camera still blinking red. He pops out the SD card. Back in his truck, he plugs it into his backup laptop. Hundreds of clips load, all stamped with HOA dates, meetings, midnight lake visits. He clicks one labeled, Private HOA Board Night Discussion. Karen's voice echoes, "If the toxins spread too far, we'll just blame the fishermen." He's expendable. Ryan's eyes burn with fury. Not anymore. The next morning, Ryan drives into town with the SD card clutched like a weapon. He walks into the local news station, his boots tracking dirt onto the white floors. The receptionist looks up. "Sir, can I help you?" Ryan slides a USB drive across the counter. "You want a story that'll blow the HOA clean off its foundations? Play this." Minutes later, the producer calls him into a dark control room. The screen flickers. Footage from the HOA's hidden meetings, Karen's voice filling the speakers. The producer looks stunned. "You're telling me the HOA knew they were poisoning their own lake?" Ryan nods. "And their own water system. I just need one broadcast. One." The producer exhales. "We'll air it tonight." But as Ryan walks out, he sees a black car parked across the street, the same SUV from before. Inside, a man is talking on a phone, watching him. That night, Ryan sits in his cabin, the TV volume low. The anchor begins. "Tonight, a shocking report from Willow Creek Estates. The feed cuts." The station logo glitches. Then static. Ryan's phone buzzes. It's the producer. "Someone pulled our feed, Ryan." "They shut down the transmitter. I don't know who." He races out to his truck, tires spitting gravel. He knows exactly who. The HOA's influence runs deeper than he imagined. He drives straight to the station, sirens wailing in the distance. When he arrives, police lights already flash outside. The producer stands handcuffed, yelling, "They said it was classified environmental data! They seized everything!" Ryan steps back into the shadows, heart pounding. He realizes this is no longer just an HOA cover-up. Someone higher is protecting them. He opens his glove box. The original SD card is gone. A folded note sits in its place. "We warned you. Stop digging, or the lake won't be the only thing poisoned." Ryan's hands tremble as he drives toward the lake one last time. The moon is high, the air thick with mist. He parks at the water's edge, headlights cutting through the fog. This time he's not alone. Sheriff Frank's cruiser pulls up beside him. "Got your message," the sheriff says. "You sure you want to do this tonight?" Ryan nods. "They'll come for what they think I have left." He's right. Minutes later, another car appears. The black SUV. Karen steps out, flanked by 2 board members. "Ryan," she calls sweetly, "we could have handled this quietly." He takes a step forward. Quiet's not my style anymore. Behind him, hidden under the dock, a motion-triggered camera starts recording, live streaming to the local news backup server. Karen's smirk fades. "You think anyone will believe you?" Ryan smiles. They're watching right now. The sheriff steps forward, holding up his phone. The live stream counter ticks upward, thousands watching. Karen's eyes widen in horror as she realizes every word she says from now on will destroy her. Rain starts to drizzle, shimmering across the lake's black surface. The camera light hidden near the dock blinks red, streaming live. Karen folds her arms, pretending calm. You have no proof, Ryan. All you have is a story, and no one cares about some fisherman's conspiracy. Ryan steps closer, his boots sinking into the muddy shoreline. Proof? You mean like your voice saying, let him take the blame on a file named HOA Private? Her composure cracks for a second. You broke into our files? Funny thing about the truth, Ryan says, voice low. It doesn't stay locked forever. Behind him, the sheriff watches silently until his radio crackles. Sheriff? The county lab just confirmed the algae side came from an HOA purchase order. I repeat, Karen freezes. Her husband takes a step back, realizing the camera light blinking behind Ryan. She spins toward it, eyes widening. You're recording this? Ryan's smirk says it all. Karen lunges for the dock, splashing through the shallow water. Turn that off! She screams. The sheriff moves to intercept, grabbing her arm. That's enough, Karen, she twists, panicked. You don't understand. They told us to do it. The board said it would stop the algae. The board? Ryan repeats. Who's they? But she clams up instantly, realizing she said too much. The sheriff turns his gaze on her husband. You gonna back that up? The man's hands tremble. They paid us, Sheriff. The HOA president said it was just fertilizer runoff. We didn't know he doesn't finish, because headlights suddenly flash across the trees. Another car speeds down the road, slamming to a stop near the dock. 3 men in suits step out, one yelling, "This property is under federal jurisdiction. Everyone step away." Ryan's jaw tightens. Here we go again. The federal agents' flash badges, too shiny, too new. The sheriff frowns, muttering, "Those aren't from any agency I know." One of them steps forward. "We're confiscating all footage." Environmental containment order. Ryan crosses his arms. Containment? The only thing you're containing is the truth. Before they can respond, a loud ping echoes from the sheriff's phone. A news alert. Live Willow Creek HOA scandal streamed to 30,000 viewers. Every eye turns toward Ryan. He smiles faintly. Backup server. Redundant upload. Real time. The fake agents hesitate. The sheriff rests his hand on his holster. You boys still want to take that footage? The agents retreat to their SUV, but not before one mutters, "This isn't over." Ryan looks up at the flashing news drones overhead, the whole world watching. By morning, the town has erupted. Headlines flood every screen. HOA accused of poisoning community lake. Residents outraged. Officials demand arrests. Karen's photo fills the news feed. HOA board members are seen being escorted from their offices in handcuffs. Ryan sits quietly by his lake, now cordoned off with caution tape. The water is still, wounded, but healing. The sheriff pulls up beside him. EPA's stepping in. Cleanup crews are coming next week. And Karen? She's naming names. Ryan nods. She'll name whoever she can to save herself. The sheriff sighs. Maybe, but at least the truth's out now. Ryan stares into the reflection of the water and sees a rainbow oil sheen. Not all of it, he murmurs. Something's still in there. Determined to finish what he started, Ryan rents a small rowboat and pushes out into the fog-covered lake. The cleanup team hasn't arrived yet, and the EPA tape flaps loosely in the wind. He drags a sonar probe along the lake bed, and the screen pings. A metal pipeline buried deep leading toward the north side, the HOA's irrigation system. He follows the signal to shore and finds a hidden valve buried beneath fake rocks. When he opens it, thick black sludge bubbles out, chemical residue that's been leaking directly into the HOA's water tanks. Ryan's eyes widen. They didn't just poison the lake. He looks toward the neighborhood. They poisoned themselves. He takes photos, records everything, but when he turns, a shadow stands at the tree line. Karen. Karen looks disheveled, mascara streaked, hair damp from the mist. Her voice cracks. You ruined everything. You think anyone will forgive me after this? Ryan stays silent. She takes a step closer. That lake was supposed to be perfect. No fishermen, no dirt, no noise. Just beauty. You ruined it! He looks at her sadly. You ruined it the moment you forgot it was alive. For a second, she seems to falter, but then she grabs the valve wrench from the ground. If I can't have this place, neither can you. She turns it, fully open. The pipe bursts, spewing black sludge into the air. Ryan dives forward, tackling her away from the valve as it sprays. The ground gives way, both of them sliding down the muddy slope toward the water's edge. Karen clings to the dock beam, coughing. The sludge spreads through the shallows. Ryan reaches for her, but the wood beneath her hand snaps. Karen plunges into the poisoned water with a scream. The sheriff, arriving just in time, wades in and pulls her out, but she's barely conscious. Paramedics rush her away. Ryan sits on the dock, exhausted, covered in mud. The lake gurgles quietly, like it's exhaling decades of pain. Days later, cleanup crews arrive. The EPA seals the old pipeline, drains the sludge, and begins restoring the ecosystem. Ryan watches from a distance as new fish are released into the lake, small silver flashes beneath the surface. The sheriff joins him, handing him a fresh cup of coffee. It's coming back. Ryan nods, eyes glistening. So am I. Karen's fate. The news reports say she turned state witness, exposing not just the HOA board, but a chemical supplier bribing them for years. The lake is renamed Miller's Restoration Site. A sign reads, "Nature has a way of reclaiming what's hers." Ryan casts his fishing line into the calm, blue water. The reflection of the sunrise glows golden. The story comes full circle, not with revenge, but with renewal.